the chat. And as I go through this webinar today, I'm going to ask you to participate. Look, and I see the thumbs up, so I appreciate that. At the end of the day, you are going to be here now for the next 17 hours with, well, I'm kidding. We're going to be doing this for the next, hour to hour and 15 minutes. I hope that not only that I bring you value, but you actually implement some of the strategies that I'm going to be talking to you about today. I really appreciate the beautiful words that Arian had to say about me. I really am blessed to get to speak to not only real estate offices right across the country and across the world, but a lot of relationship driven and high ticket salespeople around the world. So things that I'm learning, not only from these high ticket salespeople, but things that I'm implementing in my business right now is what I'm going to be teaching you, which I think is very important. No knock on any other coach, but see, I'm actually in this business. Just before I jumped on this webinar, and I know after I finish this webinar, I'm gonna have to speak to clients and help navigate this market that you're currently in. Because it's safe to say, wherever you are in the country, sales have dropped. The volume of deals has dropped. Now, our emails are not dinging as much. Our phones are not ringing as much. But this is not the time to ask for an easier market, because that's just complaining. There's not much you can do about the fact that the market is what the market is. What we need to do, though, is actually build better habits. We need to build stronger and upgrade our skills. I think the number one thing that we need to focus on, and that's going to be really what my talk is going to be about today, is to make sure that we build better systems. See, a business is really like a car. You might have a beautiful, shiny car sitting on the driveway, but if it doesn't have 4 tires and a steering wheel, it's not going anywhere. Now I ask you, if you think of your business as a car, are you driving down the highway nice and smooth? Or are you parked over on the side with your hazards on? Because a business without systems is why most of us have experienced that roller coaster, that up and down results. This is going to be more than just tips and tactics and strategies, because I came to realize that what we need is a full system. And that's what I'm going to be walking you through today, so you can move forward like a car with predictability and without burnout. Now, before I get into it, I want you to know that I'm going to go on my soapbox, so to speak, talk about what I've been doing and what's been working for me in not only the 21 years that I've been in real estate, but the full 31 years that I've been in sales and service. But after I do that, I implore you, I beg of you to put questions in the chat. Why? Because that is the fastest way that I know I can bring you value, because I'm in this business. So whatever you're going through, I'm either currently going through and I'm finding ways to navigate through those challenges, or it's something that I've been through. And so none of the numbers I share with you today, if this is the first time you've heard me speak, I want you to know none of these numbers are to impress you. It really is to impress upon you where all this data is coming from. And if you've heard me before, you already know, I like the sound of my own voice, so I'm going to go off on tangents and go all over the place. If there is some kids around you, you might want to put the volume down, because I do throw the F-bomb here or there. I'm going to do my best not to go too crazy today. But as I mentioned, your business is like a car. And to make sure that you don't have the up and down results, you want to make sure that you have a full system. So the first tire that I put air into was my calendar by time blocking. Because for a very, very long time, I suffered. I suffered because I got caught in the hustle porn, as I like to call it. You gotta work 25 hours a day and 8 days a week, otherwise you're not gonna make it. So I bought into it. I worked and worked really, really hard, but I worked all the time and I made a lot of money. But the problem is, but there was always divorce papers sitting on my dining room table. My 2 kids, I'm not sure if they knew who their father was. It might have been the milkman or the mailman. And every time I was at work, I felt guilty that I wasn't with my family. But the turning point for me was when I was with my family, I was feeling guilty that I wasn't working. And so I knew something had to give. I also understood that, like the 4 seasons in a year, you really can't have a balance, like a 50-50 balance. But I did know that I could have something better than I currently had. And so I went on a quest. And I call it a quest. More like Dora the Explorer. Not a journey, because I truly feel like journeys have a destination. And I knew that this is going to be something in perpetuity. I got to make changes to it along the way. But there has to be a better system. And that quest I went on, and this is a shameless plug for everyone now, I went on a quest to interview the top high-end salespeople and business owners in the world. Here's the shameless plug. Go check out my podcast, the Jazz Takar podcast. I don't say that for the views and the subscribers, but if you're there, you might as well press subscribe or like the kids say. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Maybe it's the other way around. My younger team members would tell me. But I implore you to go there because you'll actually see all these recordings. The top 100 millionaires and billionaires in the world. And I sat down and asked them questions. How are you doing it? What are you up to? How do you find a closer balance with your business life and your personal life? And they said, Jazz, you gotta start blocking out time for the important stuff. And so what I did is I made sure that I understood what the most important stuff was before my family, before my kids, before my wife, before my clients. It was me. Because if I didn't give love to myself and I didn't block out time to make sure I'm primed for the day, I'm not going to be good to anyone. And so, I made sure I start to fill my own cup up first by meditating, by working out, by making sure I'm letting myself time to sit with thoughts. And then I went to blocking out time for my family, not only my wife and kids, but my parents, my brothers, stuff I wanted to do in the community. But I know you're here for the business strategies and systems. And that's when I now understood in a week, I got everything checked off now from the perspective of giving time to myself, to my family, which is the personal bucket. Now I needed to focus on business. And so if there's anything that you get from me today, in fact, if you want to get off this webinar, I know like most people wouldn't say that. I'm okay if you do after what I tell you right now, is you need to make sure if you want to survive in today's market, 2025, and I'm not here to tell you that 2026 is going to be all roses. There's a good chance it's going to be similar to 2025. I left my crystal ball at home today, so I'm not 100% sure how that's going to be. But if you want to survive in 2025 and 2026, a minimum of 2 hours a day need to be blocked out for prospecting. Now, if you want to thrive, you want to do a minimum of 3 hours. Now, there is a myriad of ways to prospect, to generate leads, for business development. What you do is something that you're going to need to sit down and figure out what you're most comfortable doing and what you enjoy within prospecting. But it has to be scheduled for the days that you work. Now, you don't have to work 7 days a week. If you choose to work 5 days a week, make sure that everyone around you, your family, knows that's your hours of operation. Because like if you walked into Starbucks at 3 in the afternoon, you expect it to be open. But if you went there at 3 in the morning and the door was closed and you started throwing rocks at the window with the sign that says that it's closed at 3 a.m., you'd be a little off. There'd be something wrong with you. So there's nothing wrong with having time off, days off. Don't get caught in the hype that you have to work all day, every day. In fact, I also urge a lot of you to stop telling people on your business cards and your emails that you're available 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, because you're lying. You're ready behind the 8 ball. People know that's bullshit. And so you want to set it up that you figure out what your hours of operation are in your business, but within the hours of operation, you have sales, you have service. You got to service your clients. You got to do home inspections. You got to do offers. You got to do showings. You got to do presentations, but 2 hours minimum. Now, I urge you to protect your mornings like oxygen, because we have the best intent usually in the mornings, right? We all wake up and say, I'm going to seize the day. You got the most energy. So that's when you should be prospecting, is in the mornings, because otherwise, I'm guilty of it at times as well. If I ever shift me working out in the evenings, I generally don't get to it. Why? Because I get busy. Mood changes. Tequila or something gets in the way sometimes. Right? So if you protect your mornings like oxygen, which means no other appointments. Just try this. A client calls you and says, I want to see you home at 10:30 in the morning, and that's in your 2-hour block of prospecting. You let the client know, client, I have an appointment at 10:30. What's better for you, 12:30 or 2:30? You're not lying. You do have an appointment. The appointment's with yourself and your business. Your calendar is not just a schedule. It's your blueprint for wealth. Please remember this. Now, I have a question for you. I have 3 beautiful souls as my videographers. If I were to send one of them and have recorded your last 7 days, and we replayed that recording to you, and we watched it together, would you pay yourself what you say you want to earn? Now, if the answer is yes, kudos. Awesome. If the answer is no, that's okay. At least we know what the problem is now we can start to figure out what we want in terms of how, we're going to figure out a solution. Now, time blocking gives you hours, but CRM gives those hours direction. So for the 31 years that I've been in sales and service, one thing's been very consistent in what I've done to earn that $4.2 billion in sales. In fact, 80% of the $4.2 billion, so easy math, call it about $3 billion of sales, has all been based on the fact that when I moved from business to business, I took the names and numbers of the people that I either worked with when I sold shoes as a 15-year-old. I'll be lying to you if I said I CRM'd them and put them in my database. I didn't know that back then. But when I started selling high-end cars at 18, 19, I made sure I called all the people I sold shoes to. I also had a stint in the banking industry for 2.5 years. I called everybody that I worked with at the banking industry. When I got into real estate at 23, the first people I called were the guys and gals I sold shoes with, the guys and gals that I worked with at the bank, and all the stack of bill of sales of people I sold cars to. So in the first few months and first year in my real estate business, I had a lot of momentum because I was just calling people that already knew me, liked me. I had one job. They trusted me to transact, but when I got into real estate, they didn't trust me as a real estate agent yet. So I only had that one hurdle to get over. And then when I started a coaching business 3 years ago, the first thing I did, you guessed it, is everyone I sold homes to or with as real estate agents in the last 18 years at that time, I let them know. See, your CRM works like luggage. You can pick it up and take it from business to business. Now, a lot of coaches, again, not here to throw anyone under the bus, they will give you 1,000 ways to segment your database. I barely passed high school. In fact, I think they pushed me out of high school just to get me out. And so what I needed to do was find a very simple, basic way to segment my database. And the way that I did that was these 4 ways. Very simple. Number 1, all your past clients. If you're new to this business and you've done business with people in another industry, that's considered a past client. Someone that you've transacted with. And so for most of you, even as a real estate agent who've been in the business for 7, 8, 9, 10 years, I've talked to you guys in person, on social media, part of my coaching company. I don't know, we know each other from somewhere. I know that there's guys and gals in the business for a decade that have not yet put those names and numbers into a CRM. So number 1 is past clients. Number 2 is prospects, hot and cold. Anyone who says, look, I might be thinking about buying, selling, or investing within the next 90 to 120 days. Those are prospects. They're hot, and there's some cold prospects that might have came off of Facebook or Google AdWords or some open house. Third is your sphere of influence. Now, this is where I lose most people, because I know it's weird. Jazz, you're going to tell me I got to put my uncle into my database? He changed my diapers. It's so weird for me to call him and ask him for business. Well, there's easier ways to get in touch with him without sounding sleazy or salesy, without always asking for business. I'll touch on those things shortly. But first, we got to get all those people from your phone. And yes, that might include an ex-boyfriend or a girlfriend. Hopefully you guys didn't break up on bad terms. And if you didn't, and they're 18 plus, well, I hope the ex-boyfriend, girlfriend is 18 plus, but that's a separate thing. And if they have a pulse, that's my rule. If someone's 18 plus and they have a pulse, you put them into the CRM. Why? Because the average person knows 200 people that knows 200 people that knows 200 people. Your network is now over 40,000 people. And in any market in Canada, if you do 50 to 60 transactions a year, you're in the top 1%. Now, all your job is to get to the 50 deals out of the 40,000 people in your network. The 4th person and group of people that you want to put into your CRM, I actually think it's the most untapped, is other service providers. Not just thinking about the lawyers and the mortgage brokers, but I'm talking about the dentists. I'm talking about the florists, the restaurant owners, anybody else who needs business. You need to make sure that they're in your CRM. Why do I think it's the most untapped? Because all you need to do is find ways to give them business, and then you will get business. See, giving starts the process of receiving, but we have it ass backwards. We're always asking for business without giving anything, or we're always trying to sell something without teaching something, which I'm going to get into. You're not short on leads. You're short on follow-up. Your CRM is your gold mine. Now, I have a question for you. Be honest. If you want to actually put your hands up in the chat, then I know who the honest people are. In the last 12 months, how many people do you know that either bought or sold in the last 12 months that you have in your phone, but they didn't do it with you? Yeah, I'm seeing it. Keep it coming, because it can't just be the one person, and I appreciate your honesty, Zainab. How many people in the last 12 months that are in your phone that bought or sold without you? See, our first inclination is to say, when you find out that they did that, but come on, it's not their fault. They don't walk around with your business card stapled on their head. You have to nurture these people. You got to make sure that you reach out to them. You have to earn the business. We make anywhere from $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 on the low end, depending on where you are to the country, to my friends in BC and my brothers and sisters here in Toronto. On average, about $20,000 to $22,000. Long gone are the days where the business is just going to come in and flow in. That's not how this works anymore. In fact, we're about to find out, as Warren Buffett said, who was swimming naked. Because those were the easy times. Those were order-taking times. 2020, 2021, 2022. Now we're going to see who the professionals are. Business is happening, boys and girls. Transactions are happening. It's always going to be a question, are you in the middle of it? So everything I talk to you about today, understand, I am not naive to the market and to what's happening and the fact that sales have gone down. But that doesn't mean that you still can't earn not only a living, but build a fortune. It's just a matter of getting in between it. Now, a directed list is good, but education is what starts to bring in inbound leads. Because I too wanted to find a different way to start to reach out to my network and not just call them and ask, hey, Alex, are you thinking about buying, selling, or investing today? Because I noticed something, that the third time I called Alex, she didn't pick up my phone. And so that's where my system around educational events came in. Now, the first educational event I put on exactly 21 years ago, I had 75 people registered. And about 2 weeks in, we had about 50% of them cancel for whatever reason. And then the day of, a massive storm hit the city of Toronto. And so one person showed up. If there was a rock, I'm not sure if I would even try to go underneath the rock. I might want to pick it up and smash it on my head. That's how I felt, so demotivated. I had 75 people registered. Okay, it got down to 30, 35. But then only one person showed up. This was very early on in my career. But I realized, hey, the system of having people come and get educated makes sense. Maybe I just went about it the wrong way. That's when I learned the strategy of reframing. Now, this is not only for your business, this is for the rest of your life. The quality of questions that you ask yourself will determine the quality of your life. I'm going to say that again because I want to make sure everyone got that. This is for the rest of anywhere in your life. The quality of the questions you ask yourself will determine the quality of your life, right? If you ask yourself, long before Google and ChatGPT, if you ask yourself, why aren't things working for me? Why don't I ever get this? Why are my kids like this? The brain will give you the answers. It will give you all the reasons why. Because that's the brain's job. That's the organ's job, is to find solutions. So knowing that, just ask better questions. And so what I started to do at that time was, how can I ensure more people register so I have a higher probability of more people showing up? What are ways that I can promote this even more? What are other places I can do this event? Because I did it in downtown Toronto. Maybe that caused a problem. Who are other people that I can collab with to make sure that this is a successful event? So I did another one, and we had 30 people who registered. 5 people showed up. And none of those 5 did anything. But I realized went from 1 to 5. The third one I did, I had 60 people registered and had 25 people show up. And now I'm blessed enough to be speaking to home buyers, home sellers, and investors every single quarter, to the tune of anywhere from 500 to 600 home buyers, home sellers, and investors every quarter. How? Well, I made sure that I just kept doing it from a consistency perspective. I scaled it to webinars so I can go right across the world. But one massive shift happened about a couple of years in to doing these events. See, because when I would have more and more people come in, I would pitch them on stuff. I would try to sell. And so what I realized is, I can't sell because I think I'm coming off too pushy. I'm only going to educate. See, because the reason I know that works now is because it was easier for my network, my database, my friends, my family, my past clients to tell their friends, colleagues, and neighbors about a free event that I was putting on where I'm educating, rather than them telling those colleagues and neighbors and friends to use me as their real estate agent. Not only became easier for them, they were actually proud to do it. So when it comes around to this pillar of educational events, you want to make sure you teach something so you can become the trusted guide. This is not the place to always be pitching. You want to educate. Question I have for you is, what is one small event you can put on either in person or a webinar setup like this in the next 30 to 60 days where you teach something and not sell? Now, what I realized with educational events is that people learned from me the one time they came to the event. But on social media, they learn every time they scroll. And so 7 years ago, I started the process of making sure that I'm omnipresent. In fact, I want to kind of just get an idea from everyone here as I go through this pillar of mine. How many people do follow me on social media? Just so I can kind of get a sense of how many people know me and who are the new guys and gals. I do. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. Great. And I appreciate everybody who does follow me. For the people that don't, like, you could leave this webinar now. Like, what do you do? No, I'm kidding. The strategy around social media for me was becoming omnipresent. And what does that mean? Well, I wanted to be on all the platforms that everybody was at, because I realized pretty quickly, if there was a party going on down the street, and at that party, people are talking about possibly buying, selling, or investing in real estate, it'd be a good job. It'd be a good, reason for me to dust off my suit, put it on, and go to that party, because I might meet some people. Well, here's the thing. There are here's my device here. There is 5 to 7 platforms on this device right here, 5 to 7 of them, that there's a party going on where people are talking and wanting to be educated. Now, there's my strategy, and there's tons of ways to do this. I implore that you need to take on one of them. So what I did is I started a podcast. Now, the podcast that you'll know today of the Jazz Hacker podcast is targeted to high-ticket salespeople, relationship-driven salespeople, but for the first 4.5, 5 years, it was all teaching people how to buy, sell, and invest on their own. That's it. I was educating people on social media, creating content on how to buy, sell, and invest on their own, knowing that only 2% of the marketplace is ever going to do it on their own. We know that, right? Like, take the whole country, 98% of real estate that gets traded on public records, 98% of it can be cross-referenced with MLS, meaning that they used a real estate agent. So I knew, who cares about the 2%? I'm not going to waste any time there. They're going to do it on their own. So what I did is started a podcast, because that one-hour conversation that I would have with people, or I would do it on my own later on, allowed me to have 20 to 25 micro pieces of content. Because I would take the transcription, I would put the full video up, I would put the full audio up on a podcast, but I would take the transcription of everything that was said, turn that into a blog, turn that into a weekly email, make sure that I get 5 to 7 little 1 minute or less clips. I would have images made, and you've seen that stuff on social media where it's called like a quote overlay. I would have little tweets done. I would take screenshots of the tweets. Now, that might be a lot for somebody who's just starting right now. And I understand that. Because what I also added was making sure I did 3 short videos every single day. But again, I don't want to lose everyone here. I'm not going to ask you to do 3 a day. I'm going to ask you to do 3 a week. Now, if you're wondering where do you get these ideas from, well, I think the easiest way is to just ChatGPT it. But I like to be even more authentic and really give the public what they want, and I do that based on the questions I get, right? So if you're getting 3 questions a week from your prospects, from your clients, through email, through meeting with them in person, your mom, your kids are asked, whoever is asking these questions, you got to jot them down, and then you want to make sure that you put out a video with your answer. Now, if you're not getting 3 questions a week, guys, you need to meet more people. You need to get out there and meet people. And I don't care how you do it. You could be walking on the middle of the street in downtown Halifax, for all I care, and you literally throw your phone. And the first person who looks at your phone, you're like, oh my God, you're the first person who looked at my phone. I'm just curious, what brings you to the city? Start a conversation. Because if you're not meeting 3 people, you're going to have a very, very tough time in this business. Now, play with me for a little bit because you guys have been really good. No, but I will, someone said. Who here goes on social media for 1 hour a day, like scrolling? Just give me any emoji, give me a yup, give me a me. The question is, who goes on social media for a minimum of an hour a day? Keep it coming, guys. I'm going to wait here. Keep it coming. I've seen it. Yes, keep it coming. Yeah, I've seen this clip. I love you. Thank you. Don't give it away. Keep going. Sometimes that's great. Keep it coming, guys. We got close to, I don't know what the numbers are here. 75, 80, 100 people, something like that. I can't remember. Keep it coming. Who else? Okay. And it's okay, guys. Here's the cool thing. The public's not here right now. They're not buying real estate from you, so don't worry. It's just us. We're all brothers and sisters, not only in the industry, but all Royal LePagers as well. So this is really near and dear to me. Yes, all media scrolling, great. Okay, now, for all the people who said yes, full honesty here, guys. This is the lab. Let's make all our mistakes here in this webinar. Hence why I want you to go into Q&A with me so we make less mistakes out there in the public and we get better, okay? So who, out of everyone who said yes, posts 1 video a day? Now, if you don't, I want you to say no, 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 as I get my phone. Thank you. This is awesome. I really like the honesty, because this is not only going to help you, but it's going to help everyone else. Now, here's the problem with this, guys, okay? That we're going on social media to scroll to see who had kids and who had what to eat last night, and that stuff is cool. I'm okay with that. That could be your escapism. But the fact that you're not also posting for your business as a marketing tool, as the top 3 marketing tools that exist right now in 2025, you need to change that. I have no, I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing for you. You have to change that. How do you do that? Before you scroll, post. Because here's the thing. Content, it's the modern handshake. Your prospects cannot buy from a ghost. There's no more secret agent stuff. You can't walk around like this. That's good for 007, but it's not good for our business. We need to meet people. Because before they can trust you, before they can like you, they need to know you. See, social media and content creation is fantastic because it creates interest. But booking appointments is what takes that interest into actual money. And so what you want to make sure that you do when you're starting the process of booking appointments is have more of a consultant approach than a salesperson approach. And the way to do that is to uncover a need or want. The fastest way to do that is to have either a discovery, you can use whatever word you want here now. Discovery call, clarity call is what we use. A real estate action plan is something I've used in the past. An appointment, a consultation, they all mean the same thing. It's a sit down for 20 to 25 minutes where you get a better idea of what the person might want to accomplish long-term within real estate, and then you try to reverse engineer something that you offer. You do that by 5 questions. What, where, when, how, and why. You want to incorporate those 5 questions in all your appointments as much as possible because it keeps people talking. It elicits an answer more than just yes or no. There's a place for close-ended questions that give you the yes or no, but to open up and uncover a possible need or want, you do that by asking those 5 questions. Now, it won't work all the time that you use all 5, but you got to get into the habit of asking those. Now, you also want to make sure that you are measuring how many appointments you have in any given week or month. And here's the key performance indicators, the KPIs. What are the 5 questions? I'll give them to you really quick, Nene. What, where, when, how, why? They all start with that. What, where, when, how, and why. Open-ended questions. The key performance indicators, the metrics that you want to measure on a weekly basis is how many outbound calls are you making? And so I'm not talking about cold calling. You can get to cold calling. Let's start with warm calling first. The people in the CRM, the ones that already know you, like you just got to get them to trust you, okay? How many of those are you making? Outbound calls made. How many people did you connect with? You're going to call 100, you're going to connect with 30 of them, okay? For example, it's usually around a 30% connection rate. Out of the people that you connected with, how many appointments did you take? Out of the appointments you took, how many moved to the next step? Really quickly, your next step in this business, we want a listing appointment or a buyer appointment. The investors go into buyers for me, okay? That's it. That's what the next steps are. Did somebody say, come by and give me an evaluation? Or you know what, I want to start looking, put me in touch with the mortgage broker to get the pre-approval. That's what the next steps are. Because whatever you measure, you can manage now. Now we can get an idea of where you're at, how you can get better. Without booked appointments, the rest is just noise. In this pillar, this is where all the money is actually made. Now, I want every one of you to open up your calendar. I'm not here to make you feel bad, but we got to get okay with reality. It hurts. I know that. But the only place you can make a change is now. In fact, the now is internal. It's the only place that we can make a change. So I ask you, open up your calendars. In the next 7 days, how many new appointments do you have? I don't want you to count the showings that you've booked already. I don't want you to count the listing appointments that you have booked already. How many new appointments have we booked? And again, if it's 0 or 1, that's okay. But the way you get a business with predictable results is first by measuring and then by doing. Now, I can tell you exactly where I'm going to end up pretty much every single year in how many deals we're going to do. My team does anywhere from 500 to 600 transactions a year. Again, I'm not here to impress you. I tell you that because it's predictable. Give or take 5% here or there. Because I know exactly how many calls we're making. I know exactly how many appointments we're booking. I know exactly, you see, you get the drift here. This is why this pillar is the one that gives everything else direction, because it's where all the money is made, with appointments. Now, I just went over the full car with you. The 4 tires being time blocking, CRM and nurturing, the educational events, content, and social media. And then we made sure we got a good steering wheel, which is the appointments. That is the full system. That is the Jazz Takar 5-pillar sales method. Now remember, even if one tire doesn't have air in it, the ride gets bumpy, let alone if you don't have a steering wheel. You're not going anywhere. Now, if you were to come over to my home for dinner tonight and you called me 15 minutes before you were supposed to be at my house and said, Jazz, I'm going to be running late. I think I'm lost. The first question I'm going to ask you is, where are you, Joe? So I can help navigate you to get to my place. And so I want you to find out if there's any air missing in any of these tires. Do you have a good steering wheel in place? And that's what the 5-pillar scorecard is for. I urge you to download this right now. Okay? It's a checkup. Where is there things missing? My team's going to put the links in for this. It's free. There's no cost for it. I want you to find out exactly where you are right now so you can make those changes. Find out where there is air missing in which tire. Because the truth is, if you had air in all 4 tires and a good steering wheel, you probably wouldn't be here today. So I thank you for letting me go on my soapbox and talk about kind of the current market and how we're navigating